Well, hello to all of my fellow friends, and if you are a new friend, hello, it's nice to meet you. So today's video, I'm really trying to stay on track. This is the second time I'm recording this. I know everybody says stuff like that, but you know, it's most of the time it's true. But I have a lot of things that I want to talk about today, okay? I had ideas, I've been posting about them on social media platforms, kind of getting your guys' opinions and outlooks and all of that. And it inspired me to kind of first make a video talking about it all, if that makes sense. And what I mean is, I've been wanting to make a video talking about the beauty community because, you know, BeautyCon just passed and some really interesting events and things happened during that. And after that I kind of wanted to talk about, you know. There's some people talking about it, but mostly just people like exposing and yeah. I wanted to talk about this notion of cancel culture, okay? Because that's huge right now. Not necessarily exposing, but canceling. You know, because there's kind of a huge difference. Exposing may come with canceling, if some people think that way, but they like run neck and neck, but they're two different things, and I wanted to talk about both of them. And I've also kind of wanted to talk about, which I will talk about in a video of its own, but I wanted to include in today's video, going back to school, because that's happening. And I just feel like with all of the interesting things that happened on social media over the summer, when all of us have not necessarily been like in the mindset of being focused and determined, and not necessarily in that sense, but I'm saying towards school, you know, school mind. I'm talking about school mind. Not like our goals and our desires outside of that and our hobbies and none of that. I'm mostly just saying we weren't focused, zoned in on something specific that, you know, counts for grades, that sort of stuff. A lot of people are just out watching like YouTube, you know. I'm assuming a lot of people, especially like young girls and boys, from elementary school all the way up to college. Like I know even past then there's still a bunch of people watching YouTube, but I really want to focus on the people who are going back to school and being around a lot of people, not just going back to work. That's a whole different thing, but when you're young and you aren't as experienced, I'm not even saying I am, I'm just saying like us, when we're not experienced and we're young and we go back into a whole room of people, of strangers, and we're expected to like get along, understand, like, it's weird, it's interesting, right? So this whole summer, if you really think about it, all of us have just been spending time on YouTube. Not everybody, just please bear with me. So I know a little bit ago I made a video kind of talking about exposing and how I think it's like so silly, you know. It's something that may be necessary sometimes, you know. There are certain things that are pushed under the rug that people just want to pretend like never happened and never bring it up, but then people find out about it and they're kind of like surprised and like, oh crap, I'm not prepared for this. And then this whole tornado happens between the public, the viewers, the influencer, the person, the musician, like whoever it is, you guys. I want to kind of talk about the definition of this cancel culture thing that's going on, because it's like a thing, but I don't think we really understand what it is, you know. It's like a wave that's gone over us, but nobody's really taken the time to be like, yo, here's what this is, here's what's happening, and like here's what our minds are doing. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. I'm not saying this is right or this is the truth. This is just like kind of my truth, my reality that I've been perceiving and kind of paying attention to and taking notes on. So yeah, I want to talk about that. So first I want to start with kind of what is cancel culture. Well, if you think about it, all in all, it's public shaming, all right? We can beat around the bush and say, oh, it's when somebody does something really, really bad and then everybody's just going to talk about it and like they need to know what they did wrong. All in all, it's public shaming. However we want to look at that, whether it's in a positive light, if that's possible, a negative light, or like say it's just in the middle. It's like it's neither positive nor negative. People are just wanting to like get it out there, but in return it turns into like this huge mass wave of public shaming. The reason why I think it's so important to bring up going back to school right now and with this public shaming is because all of us that have been spending time watching YouTube, I think we've gotten used to this notion of gossiping outside of our friends. You know what I mean? Like, it's so different when you want to go tell your friend or your mom or your dog a secret. You know, it's gonna stay between just you guys. It's almost like it's in its little bubble. You know, it doesn't really have any repercussions. If it pops, it does, but a lot of the times when you harvest a little bubble, it solidifies into an egg and it's just like there, you know, it's just there and you're holding it in your pocket. it turns into a penny, whatever you want to call it. We'll do that one. The bubble turns into a solidified penny, and you just keep it forever. It's your little secret, literally, right? Well, what's kind of happened, at least from what I'm viewing, is this big explosion of just, you guys need to know all of the dirty, juicy little secrets. It's gotten so like normal that we want more and more and more. It's like, it's not necessarily an addiction, even though it is. It's like, it's just entertainment. So I guess in a form it is an addiction, but it's pure entertainment that's like, ooh, it's juicy. You know, it's not some reality television that you're like, you're kind of just probably doing this for the camera. No, it's somebody sitting down, and that's interesting. It's entertaining. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I've sat and watched exposing videos or like different things like that because like it's what, I'm not gonna lie. I'm human. I'm interested in certain things, you know? It's like, you know, you think you know somebody, and then all of a sudden somebody's over here kind of saying, oh, well, let me tell you something. It's like, you're just interested. It's like, naturally, it's weird, right? I might just be speaking for myself, but I feel like some other people might be that way too, based on the views I see some of these like exposing videos and drama and gossip videos and stuff. It's like what once was all of a sudden a cut on somebody's arm and was like, oh my god, ouch, that hurt. We just keep putting band-aids over it to where, oh yeah, it's gonna hurt, but just slap a band-aid on it, girl, you're gonna get over it. When in reality, you know, sometimes it's not that simple. It's really easy for an outside source to say that, to say like, oh my god, get over it, who cares? But imagine you being that specific person, okay? So that's kind of just why I wanted to real quick throw in there why I think it's so important real quick for me to bring this up before school starts, because I don't want you guys, if you're young or you're going back to middle school or you're going back to high school, I don't want you to follow the footsteps of drama channels or of exposing videos when you go into real life, you know? And that's something I want to get into in a second, is the difference between reality and fantasy, okay? But I don't want people to carry the same mentality that it's okay to expose people horribly and in interesting ways in real life, in school. Because if you think about it, some of the people that are being exposed online, I'm not gonna get into the young people right now, but some of the adults that are being exposed, they're adults, right? Or they're musicians. They're not living the typical lifestyle of going to an everyday school 9 hours of a day, back to back, going through things, you know? And then having people trying to expose you like to kids like in school that you're gonna have to be around, and then that drama possibly carrying on to social media, heaven forbid. You see, I don't want that to happen. So I want to try to be somebody to influence at least somebody to carry a mentality of if you hear something, hear a secret, go up to that person yourself and maybe just let them know that there's secrets going on or that there's something going on, and give that will allow that person to get in on drama. Like, I know that sounds silly, but imagine being the outcast of somebody and you're being picked on. Nobody wants to be that person. So try and be the person to, if you're not going to help them, maybe you don't want to be involved in the drama, simply just try to message them or something and just be like, you know what, I don't want this to get real deep too soon. Like, maybe you have a chance to kind of speak up and like talk about it before it gets too big, because I think that's some of the issues that are happening right now, is people are so quick to just expose people instead of maybe even possibly getting the true, real story, or even the background of the story, or even letting that person know, and then giving that person a chance to literally like reconcile with themselves and be ready to address the public who's literally shaming them or about to. Maybe they're not even yet and the pot is just starting to boil. Be that person to help, you know. I know there's some people that do really, really nasty things, trust me. But we're all human. And I know it's hard to like justify something, but you're saying but, and I know the word but almost completely disregards what you say before. We are all human, regardless, okay? There's no right or wrong way to living life. One thing about this whole cancel culture and public shaming is there are no rules, okay? It's literally everything to the wall. Everything to the wall. The family gets involved. The childhood secrets get involved. Exes get involved. Current relationships get involved. Schooling gets involved. Like, so parents get involved. This whole person that was just, say, a normal person who just recorded videos just for fun or had a niche for fashion or for makeup or something, yeah, they may be a little controversial, but they were just a normal person who nobody really knew. They knew their name, they knew what they do as a hobby, but they don't know them. All of a sudden, now everybody knows their whole family. They don't know the truth. I mean, maybe they know bits and pieces, or the bits and pieces they jumble together and make up a whole complete false reality, even though they're trying to pull pieces of what they get from other people, you know what I mean? So now this person is all of a sudden going from just being this kind of like one person just out doing their thing to, holy hell, like their whole entire life is involved. And with some people, you know, even young kids, YouTube might be their main source of income, might be their whole livelihood. That's something else that I think is so important and that some of us don't take into consideration is, again, people make mistakes. People make terrible mistakes. And I know it's what's important that happens after, but none of us are really focusing on that right now. And what's so interesting is we're living in the future. All of us are, right? It's like we already know who the person is. We already know what they're going to do after they're exposed. Like, you know, I remember there's this, I don't want to be specific of any of the drama that's going on, but I remember there was this one poor female that got involved with a lot of drama, and it turned, like, the drama is now, like, on the news, you know? It's like, it's not just on YouTube. There's a difference between the YouTube community. Like, forget the beauty community, there's a whole bunch of little communities, but we're all inside of YouTube. There's some people who don't even know what YouTube is, who don't even care for YouTube, right? But if something's broadcasted on live news or on entertainment channels, on talk shows, that billions of people around the whole world are watching, not just a couple 100,000 people on YouTube or 1 million people on YouTube, but a billion of people have the opportunity to watch that one now. I know a lot of people have access to internet, but some people don't. Some people don't have internet. Some people have TVs. But my point is, when something transfers, it can potentially ruin somebody. And I'm saying some people don't have the mentality or the understanding, you know, to harness onto their emotions, to understand them, and to figure out a plan for how to move forward and then execute that plan without falling back. That's very, 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 very hard. And then it's very, very hard when you have a million people shaming you. Where is the light and love that us humans have naturally, right? The nurture we have when we see a baby animal or when we see a really pretty flower, you know, we don't just run up and step on it and smash it. Some kids might, but we hope to evolve past that, right? If that little weird itches in us, right? It breaks my heart that us as people and us as individuals disregard the fact that we are still people no matter what front we put on, okay? No matter if you want to pretend and act like you're famous, say you really are, but there's a difference between acting like you're famous and still acting humble. Acting like you could still sit with the rest of the crowd, right? Not just like you only deserve to be on stage or you only deserve to be on the pedestal. Like, you'll never see me sitting down with my mouth shut. It's sad that we think people who are online are perfect. And I think it's even more sad that some of us don't ever really truly know somebody, especially if you've never really met them, right? Felt their energy in person. I'm kind of just more so, where did we go wrong? I know, like, when we're young, we see, like, princesses and we see superstars and we see singers as these, like, big people. But I feel like as we grow up, we need to level out the playing field and understand that all of us are completely equal. And the people who act like they have superior power, even if their position or titles for some reason should dictate their power, no. Rich, poor, small, tall, good, bad. We all have emotion. That's something that we can all connect with. So instead of separating, instead of exposing, instead of shaming, instead of all of this jibble jabble, why don't we understand that not everybody is perfect, especially young teenagers. Young teenagers who are being raised in the limelight or being raised with the impact of influencing so many people, and they seriously don't even understand. Do you guys honestly think that even some of us 20-year-olds on YouTube, 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds really understand and grasp the concept of how much of an influence we have over people? Like if you put low-key, and I'm not even saying this to be anything controversial, but if you put the president and Shane Dawson in 2 separate rooms, where would the people go? You know, it's like, who would you want to be around? Right? We're all people. We're all humans. It's how we portray ourselves that honestly dictates and differentiates ourselves from others, okay? So the second that we start thinking somebody is absolutely perfect and that is so impossible for them to make mistakes, we're making a huge mistake and placing a huge burden on ourselves. Because for one, I think I've already talked about expectations. Imagine walking around with the expectation that everybody you look up to is perfect, flawless, exceptional. The second they make the smallest mistake, the second you see them walking or talking a way that you never expected them to talk, you are going to be so quick to almost jump off the boat or tiptoe to where your toes are off the edge, and you're just like, yo, I'm kind of waiting for somebody to really expose you, and then I'm off, I'm not supporting you anymore. Screw you. Screw what you've taught me throughout this whole time. I don't care. Right now, present, and in the future, I don't care. You see what I'm kind of getting at? I hope I'm really making sense. With this whole idea of, you know, thinking somebody is perfect, it's interesting because a lot of the time that person is trying to portray their best self to you, you know? Because why would a lot of us want the nastiest part of ourselves, you know? Maybe it's that time of the month, or maybe we're going through a really hard breakup. Maybe we're going through a huge fight with our friend. Maybe our mom just kicked us out. Do you really want people to see you at that point, you know? No, but that doesn't mean that those moments and those times don't exist, and it doesn't mean that those moments aren't going to somehow impact you or even maybe help you change or evolve, you know? We portray this fantasy of ourselves, right? And I think some of us get so caught up in this fantasy role that we're playing that we forget our old self, you know? We forget the person we were when we first turned on the camera, that first video, or that first post, or the first day walking into a new school where you have just the confidence of a freaking queen, you know? I think people forget that and lose that whole sense. And so when you portray that fantasy though, and you lose your kind of your basic humble self, when we see the fantasy that people are portraying online, or these influencers are portraying, or even our teachers or actors or musicians, it's really hard then to differentiate fantasy from reality. And some people really get it, you know, some people completely understand the real from the fake, and they're like, yo, that's why I don't even associate myself with Instagram or social media or Snapchat or, you know, certain social media influencers. So in my opinion, the internet is fantasy trying to portray itself as reality in the best way possible, okay? Think about it. A whole bunch of people who are fantasizing their life, not necessarily fantasizing it as though it doesn't exist, but beautifying, enhancing, making it look like it's something more than it really is. That's what the internet is doing. That's what some of these influencers are doing. Not all of them. Some people really, like I said, they understand that the internet can't be trusted. They understand even some news sources aren't to be trusted. Some people get that. Young, impressionable adults, they don't. And these young, impressionable adults, some of them, the adults in their lives have no idea what they're doing or what they're associating themselves with on the internet. You feel me? So these young people who do not know that gossip is gossip, who do not know that certain TV shows or certain gossip channels or reality TV is fake, you know? They don't understand that. And that's something that we need to understand. Just because kids are growing up faster, this generation is acting older than they really are, that doesn't mean that they're so evolved and their brains are just, you know, something that they're not. So when these people sink into these sinkholes of rumors, accusations, false perceptions, false claims, they believe it. That's their reality. And then they walk around this earth, walk around real reality with such a messed up mentality. It's an illusion. And I feel like that's why some people literally are feeling like, yo, I live in a matrix. No, I think people are literally so lost in between what's real and what's fake. It's a mess. It is a matrix, you know, in a sense. It's like, it's just so interesting. So when we collectively cancel somebody, let's not just say on YouTube. Let's not just say on social media. Say your friends want to cancel somebody from the friend group. Say some girl just is not, like, she's not doing it, you know? Or just, like, somebody's trying to enter in a new girl, you're not having it. Your friend group is solidified. You're like, no, leave me alone. Collectively canceling somebody, it hurts me to even think about. You know what I mean? People do change. It's if they want to, okay? I've changed so freaking much. Oh my god, I look at myself back in high school. I was probably a bully. Mostly, it wasn't like I picked on people, but I just always had a mean look on my face. I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust females especially. Oh my god, I had such a nasty taste in my mouth when it came to females. When we collectively cancel somebody, I just ask you to put yourself in their shoes. I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth from, oh, pretend we're not on social media, pretend we're on social media. When you're not on social media, your mistakes aren't watched with a magnifying glass, right? Your every move is not dictated. Your punctuation is not looked at as though we're an AP teacher for English, right? When you are online, a lot of the times, and what people don't know and what they're not ready for, even I wasn't ready for when I first started YouTube, you have to literally, like, learn. It's about learning. I'm telling you, you have to be ready to learn. If you think you're just set in your ways, you're not going to change, all of that nonsense, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, okay? Is when you are on social media and what some people are not ready for, and it really, really messes them up. They're not prepared. Maybe they don't have a management team. Maybe they have a management team. Maybe they're too quick to hire the wrong management team. Maybe they're too quick to trust the wrong people, or too soon to collab with the wrong people. Millions of people are watching, you guys, and I don't think the society realizes that. I don't think the influencer themselves realizes that when they're signing up for this. So then when it happens, it's life-changing. It's life-altering. It's mind-altering, too. You know? Life changes, but our mind changes as well. Some don't. You know, some stick to the same way of thinking, which is very unfortunate. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there who do evolve and move past certain things. So I feel like staying stuck on this whole, you know, zoning in on other people's lives, other people's mistakes, and making sure then everybody in the public eye knows about them. Like, for one, let's stop caring, you know? Because I feel like the second we stop caring, we can move forward. We're at a pause right now, you guys. I'm sorry, but the YouTube community, in my opinion, is at a pause. There's so much drama going on, whether it be with people not feeling accepted or certain videos not being accepted, like certain things, like there's just so much nonsense going on. But I think it's because YouTube is having such a hard time. Like, how I would have a hard time too. I would have a hard time too. But I mean, one bit of advice, YouTube, is maybe just start recommending really educational videos, you know? If not, your team should be watching the people, the influencers on this platform and what they're telling to the mass public. Guys, understand who you're following. Understand who you're friends with. And if you don't, do not latch onto them. Do not become so idolized and to them that you lose sense of yourself and you lose sense of finding your own self. We all have our own unique being. Remember, we do. We all do. We don't have to be like everybody else. What worked for somebody else isn't going to work for us. Just because somebody else is famous in one way doesn't mean we need to get famous in that same way. Doesn't mean we need to act that way. Say you're not even famous. Doesn't mean we need to act that way. You know? Be careful with who you trust, who you look up to, and who you follow, right? And if you don't know who to follow, don't follow anybody. You know? If you're like, I just don't know who to trust. I don't know who's really trying to make a movement for the better, or who's really just putting on a front. You know? Who's real, who's fake. Reality versus fantasy. Stick to you, dude. Find an author you really, really like. YouTube's always going to be around. People are always going to be influencing other people on here. Okay, it's not going anywhere. And if this goes somewhere, there's going to be a whole new platform made with a whole new setup, right? Time is going somewhere though, okay? It's always passing. So if we're just going to sit down, keen in on the drama, only focus on exposing people, only get excited when people are exposed, only want to talk about that with our friends, where are we going to go as a civilization besides just stay right here? Technologically mind-effed. You know? It doesn't disregard the actions that people make, right? Not knowing somebody doesn't mean that what they do is okay. So that's not what I'm getting at, all right? What we need to just understand though too is some of the things that happened might have happened before people were even an influencer. Might have even happened before people even knew that they were really you know, some people don't understand that they're an influencer. They just think they're making videos just to make videos. They don't understand people look up to them, or people really pay attention to what they say and then apply that to their real life, you know? And that's something that I'm seriously to this day learning. And I don't like I wish I would have learned that a really, really long time ago. But hey, it doesn't matter, right? We're learning now. But I want that to get across, you know? Canceling somebody does not mean they're dead. You can't just act like somebody is dead. And if you're going to go around acting like somebody's dead, I really want you to sit down and ask yourself if that's the kind of, you know, personality and persona that you want to carry around. Is if the first thing that you do when somebody makes a mistake, or the first thing you do when somebody, you know, gets exposed or whatever, is completely cancel them. Completely act like they're dead. Act like they didn't matter at all. Act like they're not a human. We need to care more for each other. We need to love each other more. I know it's hard. I know some of us weren't raised that way. And I know some of us are having to teach ourselves how to love and how to express love and how to just be love. But it's possible, you guys. It's possible. And one thing that I just want to leave off with is a little quote that I really think is important. So small minds talk about people. Smart minds talk about events. But wise minds talk about ideas. So the next time you're hanging around somebody, when you go back to school, okay, and your friends are automatically talking about so-and-so, what she looks like, what she's doing, who she's talking to. She's a SLUT. Think about if you really want to surround yourself with somebody who just literally spends time talking about other people. They don't care about events that are happening in life. And beyond that, they don't care about ideas to ponder, thoughts to ponder, conspiracies to look into, you know? Why aren't we more so intrigued in the unknown, you know? Why don't we want to talk about those ideas, you know? I think that's really where we need to kind of sit back as a society, as a civilization of humans, and think to ourselves, how many decades upon decades upon decades upon centuries have humans spent just talking about other people? I know this might sound silly, but if you want to know something about somebody, maybe just go ask them. And then maybe spend the other time expanding your ideas, talking about those ideas. The second we stop talking about ideas, we all start thinking the same and talking about the same things. That's not interesting. That's conforming. That's walking in a circle. Where's the future in that? It's predictable. So I really just wanted to I know I talked about so many weird things in this video. And if I should break down maybe one of the topics into a video of its own, maybe just talking about the beauty community or just school or just something, I can do that. But I wanted to try and put them all together in a video of its own because I think they all really correspond to each other. They make a pretty braid. And I think when we understand the impact that each of those topics have, cancel culture, going back to school, the impact we have on other people's lives, our narrative in other people's lives. That's what we need to focus on, Let's not just focus on the mistakes, the exposing, the canceling. If you can't weave out the real from the fake, without somebody like, you know, literally just shoving things in your face. I don't think social media is the best outlet for you to be on like right now, you know, and that's even coming from literally, I was off of Instagram for forever because I did not know how to have a proper mentality, a healthy, mindful mentality while being on a silly app. And that is absolutely okay. If all of us need to take a break for a second, that's fine. But I think we definitely need to take a break from all of this cancel culture crap going on, this public shaming, this need to just cause so much all the time. Like, why can't we have conventions and it be nothing but happiness and peace and beautiful energy? There's a time and place for everything, you guys. And some things are just better left unsaid. And if they need to be said, hell, if you have an opinion about somebody, if you think somebody needs to be canceled, tell them yourself. Share your ideas of how you think that person might be able to better themselves. Without controlling, you know? Without dictating who is who and who's allowed to be viewed and who can't be watched. Let us decide on our own cancel culture out there, you know? To the drama channels who really are keened in on canceling people, shaming people, not just letting us know as people, from people to people, just little information, you know? Because like I said, there's people out there who are going to always talk about people. There's people out there who are always going to talk about events. But why not try to excel into being that person who talks about ideas more than they talk about other people? Like, how cool to be that person to like want to like be around, you know? It's like people want to be around you because you have such cool information to share, not gossip, not crap about other people, not Jenny from the block, like no. But a crazy idea that then they're gonna go talk to other people and then like maybe so many more movements can start happening instead of just this wave of mud that's just like covering us all. This wave of shame and exposing and drama, you know. Like it's possible to talk about people's mistakes without shaming them. It is absolutely possible. I really wanted to get this out before school started. I really hope you guys see it. I know, you know, I know, but I don't want the same mentality that is happening on social media to trickle into the minds of these young, impressionable adults who are soon to be the future of society, okay? Now is the time to make sure us as humans are all moving forward and all evolving for the better, especially the young kids. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna try to get it up as soon as possible. Keep that in mind. Be a wise person that just wants to talk about ideas with people. And I promise, it's like you'll have a force field up. You'll have a force field up. And certain people may not want to talk to you anymore, but who cares? Those are probably the people who just want to go around gossiping and sucking energy from other people to try to build up their own sense of false light. Okay? Warmth and love and light can go a long way. So I think the sooner we all kind of realize that, the better things will get around here. But what do I know? I hope you guys enjoyed this and have a very peaceful night. And please let me know your guys' thoughts and comments below. You know, I really truly do miss all of the ideas and thoughts and stuff that used to be in the comments. The comments used to be filled with so many interesting, like, you know, I love the comments about like the aesthetic and the hair and, you know, I want to hear your guys' ideas, okay? So, maybe let's change it up in the comments and let's leave as many ideas about what was talked about or ideas of how we can change social media for the better or how influencers can maybe start understanding the influence they truly have on people, or maybe how conventions can start going smoother and public shaming can get doing, and like let's start thinking and conspiring different ideas. I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, morning, wherever you are, and take care of yourself.